Hey guys, today we have Mariah Mazza here. She is one of my best friends, a dirt bike racer, rider, a runner, a lifter, a mom, and many other things. So today we're gonna ask her some questions, get to know her a little bit better, and yeah, so.
Thanks for having me, Tay. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
What you got for me?
So, you are 11 months postpartum.
Yeah.
What has been the biggest difference pre-baby to being postpartum?
Man, your whole life definitely changes when you have a little person. And it's great. And it's also emotional at times. And it's also very up and down. But we love him. He's awesome. In terms of like racing and riding and stuff, like the biggest thing is that having him was actually like my biggest time off the bike since I started riding 10 years ago. I broke my femur in 2019 and I was only off for 4 months before I was riding again. In my pregnancy, it was 6.5 months because I rode until about 4 months pregnant. I know I'm going to get a bunch of crazy YouTubers like, oh my gosh, you crazy, awful mom. Okay, don't turn me into the people, right? I was fine. I rode very safe, very chill. And then I stopped riding about 4 months. And then I rode 5 weeks postpartum. So, and I think I only made it to like 8.5 months pregnant. I had him at 37 weeks. So I think it ended up being about 6-ish months, maybe a little more, maybe a little less between riding. But it was a while. And my husband at the time was doing a lot of racing and I was trying to be there and support him with my belly. But it was tough. That I think was kind of like the hardest part. With the being off the bike, I think another thing is just like your general confidence level, just not even, I mean, I think I sat and rode around on the pit bike to get from place to place, but I definitely wasn't doing jumps or anything crazy. So just kind of like the lack of confidence that you get from that. And I was really good about working out and walking at the very least. But I did lift weights quite a bit through my pregnancy off and on. But even then you still have quite the fitness and body changes that happen postpartum. So when I rode 5 weeks postpartum, I rode moto just thinking, okay, I'm going to go back to something I'm the most familiar with versus woods or something. I rode at Kingsville, which is a local Missouri track. I'm really familiar with it, ridden there a really long time. My core was really weak, so I couldn't grip the bike and keep myself more up front on the bike. And that got really dangerous as I tried to progress to jumping slowly. I realized I didn't have enough forward hold on the bike to safely jump without getting behind on it. Because that's what happened when I broke my femur. I was just really tired for the day. I got too far back on the bike and it was just bad. So I knew I was just going to do a couple little, motos out there for practice because they rotate through a scheduled practice. And I knew I just needed to be done, but that I did it, which was great. But that definitely set me on the path to start, getting more into my lifting again, getting into walking and eventually running. I think I did my first mile run like 7 weeks postpartum. I ran like a 10-minute or something mile, which is okay. I was happy with it. But I definitely focused a lot on my fitness again. Just to kind of, just know that my body is capable of doing what it did beforehand. And then I guess like the third part that like a lot of people will probably say that if you've had kids or, is if you've, even been any part of a family. I'm pretty much a stay-at-home mom. I kind of work part-time doing like graphic design and freelance work. But I'm the baby's #1 person. I take care of him. So, not long ago, like a couple months ago, I just rode around in a woods practice and fell down on my wrist, and my wrist was a little banged up for a while. No bruises, no breaks, no anything serious. But I mean, even just picking up my 25-pound baby was like, ow. Like, and any time, the little babies whack their little hands on things. So like, it just, you have some perspective to gain from that. Like, I gotta be able to pick my baby up and, wipe his butt and stuff. Like, those are the necessities. So that was a little bit of something to that. But just not having like the full income that I used to have too, like to where, you want this, you buy it. Like we discuss things as a family now because we're okay, but like we have to plan things out and, just think a little bit more about everything for everybody. But yeah, that's most of it. And also passing off the baby, like Robbie gets to be big daddy guy and hold the baby while I'm out, and then I hold the baby and hang out with him when he's out, and it gets to be quite the event. So, and loading up all your gear and all your stuff, but also loading up all the baby's gear, because I mean, he's not riding, but he practically has a whole gear bag full of things. So
Yeah,
definitely.
literally.
So really long-winded answer to that question, but hopefully that pretty
Yeah.
much
Yeah,
sums that up.
pretty insightful.
Yeah, something.
So, being that your background's mostly motocross, what's the biggest thing that you notice between it and the woods that's different?
Yeah, there's like a couple things that really are different. I think the number one thing is that you have to focus for a very, very long time. Most woods races are like hour or two. I know that more like Midwest off-road events, they do a 30-minute ladies race on their Saturdays. So those aren't too bad. I mean, that's still about double what a motocross race usually is, but for the most part, if you're doing like a forward motion or something like that, you're in there for 2 hours, and you start to mentally fade and just kind of zone out. And when you do that, you lose your speed, you kind of lose your edge. In a way, you usually lose your safety a little bit.
Yeah,
you
for
know.
sure.
So that's definitely a thing. Just kind of going into it with more focus is like, and just training yourself to focus for a long period of time. Other than that, like in moto, you can usually see your competition like almost the whole time. You look over to the side, you see somebody going down a different lane, whether they're ahead of or behind you. I mean, there's some big tracks that like that's not something you can do, or if you're like just really focused anyway, maybe you don't notice. But if you're like that number one or number two girl and you're like, man, I'm right on her, if you're in the woods, I mean, somebody can be 2 turns ahead of you and you can not know who they are. Or like amongst a race, like you don't have the carrot, so like you have to put your own carrot in front of yourself, or else you're just out there riding and you're not going to get the results that you're capable of getting. And third thing, it's not as major. I know, especially for Taylor, these last 2 years in GNCC, it has been a mud fest at like every race, and so for the most part, a moto race will get canceled. I mean, like Ponca, they go with whatever. So you know, certain races,
The big ones,
will proceed no matter what. But for the most part, moto events do not continue in crazy conditions. However, woods races do. So being more flexible and just an overall strong and just mentally tough rider in the woods is like one of the main differences, because moto people for the most part have groomed tracks. They have
clean bikes, scratches.
Yeah, and lighter bikes, because you don't have to have your bulletproof guards and your skid plates and all the craziness and your bibs. So
Yeah.
you're just a little bit different there. But I mean, those are like the 3 biggest things that come to mind for me. I know you've done some moto. What are some things that you think are different? Kind of those things and something else?
My first thing that sent me into like culture shock was the first motor race that I did in Texas. Well, one, we lined up with
A lot of girls.
A lot of girls. I think it was 20,
25 or something like that?
Yeah. It was a lot, which is super cool. But it was like a 4-lap race. And it was like a minute lap. So it's like,
you had to go. You don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, the gate drops.
Time to make up.
Exactly. And so like, my first time out, she yelled at me bad.
This was when I was pregnant too, guys. So I was wishing I was out there. I was just like, oh, I just want to be out there so bad. But here I am. I'm stuck. I got this belly.
Yeah.
Get out there and kick some butt for me, Taylor. And she's like, oh, well, I got next moto, I guess.
Yeah. Like I didn't realize that it was like, you gotta go now.
Yeah.
So that is the biggest thing that I took from that, but I could actually use that in woods races instead of
in the first lap to really push yourself and
exactly, to
get ahead.
Yeah, so that was something good that transitioned. I'm still working on it, but sprint speed is like, it's a different ballgame and a different way you kind of train and think about it. And like what you said with the mental stuff and focusing, I didn't even think about that. Like that makes sense. It is a lot harder to keep your focus the entire time.
And really be in the zone and like really be pushing the whole time. Yeah. So you usually kind of fall, like you usually push a lot in the beginning to get ahead of the people, or so you think, and then in the middle you kind of cruise for a bit, and then last you're like, oh man, I'm behind this person, I gotta go. Like, so you have that time to adjust and go back and forth. Or if you're really on it, you can keep your mental focus the whole time and be your 100% the whole time.
Yeah.
if your body can do it, you know.
Right.
There's
That's why you work out.
Right. Yeah. And eat well. So
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I noticed another thing for you, like over the course of your development the last couple of years, like riding with you, being off the bike, watching you, then riding with you more. It's just like now you're jumping, breaking bumps, and you're doing all this thing because you practice the jumping, the small stuff on moto tracks, and now it's like you look at things and you're like, okay, I can jump that and just avoid the banging myself up.
Exactly.
And save your hands.
Yes.
From getting
Save
destroyed.
the hand.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And I can tell if I just practice moto and then I go to a woods race, I'm like,
You attack it more.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Great.
I jumped a creek last year
Yeah.
that she didn't approve of.
Yeah, same thing on a huge curve. I'm like, you did not. You did
Yeah,
not
I
do
did.
that.
Preston said it was easy, and I'm like, well.
Okay, here we go. Can't back down now.
Yeah, it was like one of those moments, like I
Gotta
pulled,
do it or you're not.
yeah, I pulled my full focus into like setting myself up, knowing there's a lot of people there, knowing what gear I was in, just going to land it.
Yeah.
And I did, and I did it twice. So
Awesome.
Anyway.
So cool.
love it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add on that one?
I can't think of anything else like at the moment, but I don't know. I'll probably come up with a million things later on when we're going home. But yeah. So what else you got?
What's your favorite motocross track?
All right. So I thought about this a little bit. So I've not ridden outside the United States. I wish, but like in the United States in 2020, my husband and I took a trip like across the U.S. We live in like Kansas City. It's like central Missouri, Kansas, whatever. We made a trip all the way to Salt Lake City with the intent to ride dirt bikes and mountain bikes there. On our way, we stopped at Girls Ride Tuesday, which a girl named Amy Kwok out of Colorado puts on. So it was like obviously a Tuesday, like Monday night into Tuesday. We drove there. It's like 8 hours, and got to ride Leadville, Colorado. It's the most beautiful mountainous, snow-capped mountains in the background, but sunny and 70. Like I think it was like July when we went, so it was beautiful. It's also like the highest elevation track, like at least in the U.S., maybe in the world. I don't know. It's like I want to say it's like 8,000 feet or something up there. So you're breathing like. I mean, I'm in shape. I was in shape in 2020. I was fresh off my femur and like working out a lot and all of that. But it was crazy. And it's very like beginner novice-y track. I mean, there's big jumps, but they're tabletops and kind of like a sawdusty, fluffy dirt. And then they had some wet, ruddy spots too, which were great. But just a super, super fun track, and it's beautiful. And like that, it was a girls' ride day, made it more fun. Robbie he was with me obviously. They don't usually let boys ride, but they let him at the very, very end of the day, and he just went until he couldn't go anymore since he knew he'd only get like one ride. I think he rode like 9 minutes and had to pull off. He's like, I can't breathe anymore. Like I'm like, it's crazy, but it is so fun and it's beautiful. Like totally worth a summer trip there. I'm pretty sure, I didn't see on the Girls Ride Tuesday schedule this year, so maybe they're just not doing that anymore, but I almost guarantee you they still ride on the weekends. In season. I bet you they're still snow capped right now, but anyways, so definitely favorite like national, like anywhere in the US track. Other than that, my local moto track for years was Midwest Extreme Park in Merwin, Missouri. So they're the ones that do the what do they call the moto playground thing? Yeah. Oh, Camp Boom Diggity or whatever. Yeah. I've never actually done it, but I ride there and race there all the time. It's where I broke my femur, but still was my favorite track. Like until very recently, it changed ownership, and like the way the track was like changed in terms of like the dirt and jumps and stuff is not my favorite anymore. But for years, like legendary, so good. But anyways, since then, my new local favorite track has got to be like Grain Valley. Again, very like novice-y and safe. But they have like a bunch of mulch and just they're in kind of like a flood zone, so like can't be used for anything else other than dirt bikes anyways. Like crops and stuff wouldn't grow there. But when it's not flooded, it is amazing. They always do a really good job with it. It's always deep and ready. And like I said, like safe jumps, but just a fun flowy track. And then woods-wise, I haven't done that many. I've done like 4 forward motions, a couple 3 or 4 9-hour races at Panther Creek, in like Tuscumbia, Missouri, so like central Missouri. But my favorite woods race was probably one of the more like Midwest off-road events is races at Knobby Creek, which is like near St. Louis, Missouri. They have a little sand moto track there, and so in the woods are fun. So
Little rocky.
Yeah, little rocky. But I need that. Like I need to get better at that. So
the sand makes up for it though. For both of us, I'm sure.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, having like a little moto track in there like helps me out a lot. I ended up going there. It was technically my first race back postpartum was a woods race. I had a 22 250 SXF KTM, and I don't even think I had bibs or anything, like, moto suspension, all of that. But I took it for the Sunday ladies race, like their B, like shorter course, like hour 20 or something. And I ended up winning ladies that day, only because Taylor and Preston were riding like B or something and destroyed me. But out of the girls that we rode with, I ended up winning that race. And that like made me feel good, like, okay, like, you can
still do it.
I can still kind of do it. Yeah. But yeah,
so endurance too.
Yeah, that was let's see, in September?
August.
Oh, was it? August or September?
End of August. So like you might have rode 2 or 3 times before that.
Yeah, so I was probably like 2 or 3 months postpartum at that point.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, yeah. I think there was like probably like 8 of us or something that rode. So I don't know. I felt good about it, and it was fun. And I pushed myself, and I really felt pretty good the whole time. Like my moto suspension beats me up a lot, but since then we'll get to that question later. But we're on to a different bike. But yeah, so it was fun. It was a good day. Good day, and we camped out. It was fun. So.
Yeah, very good weekend.
Yeah. What about what's your favorite place? Moto and woods.
Okay.
I know what your favorite woods is, but go ahead. What's your favorite moto one?
Moto. I tend to like the Texas tracks, but that's really like out of state all I've ever been. I haven't gone like to Colorado to go ride a moto track or anything else like that. I would like to spend more time doing that, but what I had to say.
Because which ones did you do? You did
I did
Oak Hill? No.
I didn't.
Well, you've been to Oak Hill before.
Yeah, I've been to Oak Hill, but I haven't raced there.
And then his 956, you rode that before.
Yeah, and that place is really fun. With River Valley.
Yeah, that was fun.
That one.
But Swan, you did Swan and what other one? You did another one, didn't you?
No, I'm trying to think of it. It's something. Field?
No. Why is my brain not working?
I know. Yeah, and they're all
like, you did more than just Swan, right?
Yeah,
I did one before it.
I did 3, I thought.
Well, so usually it's Freestone, which you didn't do, and then it's Swan, Village Creek.
Village Creek.
You did do Village Creek?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were there. Okay, yeah, that's the one. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, Village Creek was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was kind of a little bit more hard path.
Yeah, more like Missouri.
Which
moto.
Makes me feel more at home, but we do like big ruts.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
That's something GNCCs have taught me to learn.
It's a favorite woods track?
Yeah, to learn to love it. The ruts.
Is it the South Carolina one?
I do. So Sumter, South Carolina would be one of my top favorites, and then like any of the like Camp Coker for GNCC, that would be right up there too, because you get your sand fix, then you get like a sandy loam, and then it's so fast and so fun. I do really like Florida.
Mm-hmm. What is it, like Palatka? Like what do they actually call the round?
Wild boar.
Oh, wild boar, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. There's boars in those woods.
Shit.
So
that's on my bucket list to do though. Me and Robbie every year we're like, we're gonna go do that sand one. We're gonna do it, and then we're pregnant. We're this. We're that.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it one day.
Yeah.
One day.
Yes. And then as far as locals, I'd say Knobby Creek, just because it has everything, and
it's close to you.
And
like within an hour.
Or something. An hour.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's very cool. It's very cool.
Love it.
Yeah. What else you got?
Okay. If you could think of anything that's similar between woods and moto, what would those be?
Oh man. So I would say that really the start makes such a huge difference. Like physically, obviously being in front of people, but mentally, like knowing that you are out in front, like if you get the whole shot, like knowing you are out front and you just have to stay there. Like it gives you a boost. Like whether your skill is there or not to beat the people you're on the line with, the longer you can stay ahead of them, the more you build your confidence, and like that's a huge thing. Like, and that goes for moto and woods. Like, you get a whole shot in moto, you know the girl behind you isn't gonna jump the triple here or there. If you've never done it, you might try it. Like, Or you do it every lap and they're not. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of, it gives you a little bit of something. And same with the woods. Like, if you can, like, the one year, did I get the start on you on that one woods race we did at Hoot Owl Ridge or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, there was really no super good way for her to pass me. So it was just harder. Like, it was just, you know what I mean? Like, whether she was a better rider than me, like, for sure, like, and is right now for woods, definitely. And, like, but I was able to stay ahead of her for periods of time, like, just because I was in front of her, and, like, that's just what it was. So just getting a start just makes a big difference, is all I mean. And other than that, like, your fitness and nutrition, like, the exact way you do it might be different for moto and woods, but I think it's more important for woods than it is for moto. But still, it matters. Like, I mean, we preach all day long about fitness and nutrition. Like, people who probably just like, okay, shut up. Like, I'm just gonna go ride. Like, and that's I get it. Yeah. You want to speak on that?
Yeah, we used to talk on the phone about our macros and what we needed to log that day. And
I used to call Taylor up and say, what do you eat today? I had some applesauce and protein powder, and that's it. It's 3 p.m., dude. Come on, we're riding this weekend.
Yeah.
And then she did the same stuff to me. She keeps me on my toes too.
Yes,
We're
somebody
good.
has to. But like, we literally do mean it. It makes a difference. Like, if we're both together and we're riding, we can usually tell if somebody has failed on the nutrition side.
Yeah, like amongst ourselves, or even like amongst our friends and stuff. Like, this last race that we did, we had Josephine Grissom with us, and I'm like, what are you eating? She's like, oh, I'll just eat like a PB&J today. I'm like, homie, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm like, but
this is a 9-hour race, and she was racing the next day.
But you know what? She still smoked both of our asses on the course, so she's doing great.
Yeah.
But Josephine, eat your protein, eat your carbs. All right. Yeah, for
Same
sure.
with Preston.
Yeah, Preston, dang it.
She didn't even, I'm teaching her about it, but she was eating like 50 grams of protein a day.
Yeah, I remember hearing that on one of these. Hey, we're all getting better.
Yes.
I got some like riding better to do, and they got some eating better to do. I don't know. We're all working on something.
Basically, we're just trying to tell you you're leaving results on the table.
Yeah,
all of you.
Yeah. Well, everybody every day kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
There's always something.
Little details, all that matters.
Always something to work on. Yep. And then other than that, on both moto and woods, like, your bike setup matters. Like, I spent the first 5 years of my riding, like, just for fun mostly, but I started to get more serious. I never got suspension for any of my bikes until I met my husband, and then I spent, like $1,000 or something getting suspension done. And then I'm like, oh, like, the bike, like, it's supposed to turn, like, oh, like, it works,
Yeah.
So bike setup and comfort, like, those matter, like, to do suspension for your weight, especially if you're out of the normal range. Like, luckily, I'm like 160 pounds, 5'10". So I am like the ideal weight and height mostly for most stock bikes. So I can kind of get away with it more than most people, like a 5'2" or something?
5'2".
Yeah, like a 5'2", 130, 120 pound person.
Yeah.
Like, she can't just necessarily get on a stock moto or whatever bike and like
move.
make it work right. So definitely for somebody that's not in the normal ranges, and most women I would say are not.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, just in general, like, try to work on that. Like, make that your priority over, getting
The
graphics
bling.
and plastics and stuff. Like, I know that stuff is cool, but like, yeah, I'll preach all day long, spend $1,000 on this instead of $500 on that,
Yeah. And it also makes you safer on the bike. That's another thing.
Yeah, like, you can't ride more and get better if you're getting hurt all the time, and got a broken wrist or whatever, like all kinds of crazy stuff. But yeah, so definitely that's important. Anything else you can think? Like, what are some things like that are really similar to you? Anything other than those? Think of?
I don't think so.
No.
No. I think you covered it.
Cool. What else you got?
What is your favorite bike so far?
Yeah, this has been hard. So like, when I was really young, my dad was all about Honda as a brand, and so when I did start riding, I rode Hondas. I had like a 06 Honda was my first, like a CRF 250R. And then I bought a brand new 2016 CRF 250R that I rode like arena cross with and stuff. And then I bought like a 2018 250R from a friend. and I broke my femur on it. And then I'm like, you know what? I just don't want to ride the Honda anymore. And my husband at the time had a couple Huskies. He had an FC250 and 450, which are the moto bikes. And I rode his FC250 literally one time at his track and jumped 2 jumps I'd never jumped on my own bike. And I'm like, okay, like I guess I just need an Austrian bike now. I don't know. So after the femur, I had rode one of his spares for a while. And then I got a 2019 250 SXF, and I put a lot of time on. That's like where I grew the most. I ended up putting SGV coated suspension on it, so you know, black outer fork tubes and the fancy like purple blue titanium looking nitride lowers. It was fancy, but it was also actually like valved for my weight. Yeah. And set up for like a novice moto rider that I was trying to be, you know. So I definitely made the biggest leaps and gains on that bike. So I would really say like my favorite bike, just since I grew so much on it. And also the year that I had, 2 years I think I had it, my husband and I both tried for Loretta's in 2021, and he made it. I registered as an alternate, even though I was way down the list. You have to be top 6. I think I was like 12th or 13th or something, but so not anywhere really close to like really being a potential alternate. But I registered as one, and since I was like in the top 10 that showed up to Loretta's as an alternate, I got to practice on the practice day. So it kind of has like that sentimental value of like I rode this bike on a Loretta's track, which like not a lot of people get the chance to do, and I still to this day don't have the skill to like make it, but it is something like in the future that I would like to do. So like that really is like my favorite bike. I bought and sold it several times since I've sold it the first time, but I ended up permanently, I think, selling it to like a local kid in Kansas City who rides woods. So hopefully he's happy with it and keeps it forever. But funny thing is, I put 125 hours on that bike before I even did a top end, and the piston looked fine. So other than that, I mean, like maybe a clutch, chain, sprocket stuff, but like it was a great bike. So after that bike, I got a 22 250 SXF, like to replace it, just same frame, same everything. Never sent my suspension out, just kind of rode it a little while. And then we got married the following year, and my husband got us each new 23 body 250 SXF and 450 SXF for him. And that became our bikes, and then I got pregnant, didn't ride a lot. So that bike still doesn't have very many hours on it. But I did convert it to a woods bike. It has bibs front and rear, it has bulletproof guards and enduro engineering flags and all of that. It still has the stock tank, which I know everybody's going to dog me about, but I just fuel up. I mean, it just is what it is. But I've come to like it a lot more. I had a local guy named Mike Lichty do the suspension for it, just revalved it for the woods. It's still not like spring converted or anything. The air forks aren't great, man, but they do okay. It's definitely much better since he's touched it. It doesn't deflect as bad on rocks and stuff, so much more rideable. We're gonna try to probably just do this year on the air forks, and maybe next year we'll set up like a 6500 or something. Taylor was nice enough to offer hers up, but I'm going to try not to take that up unless I feel like I'm going to die with what I got, which we're not there. So I'm going to try to do this year on the air and just see how it goes. But I'm yet to find like a bike that I'm like, wow, this is like the coolest thing ever. Like I really do like the KTMs in general, just for like the way the power delivery is, but I don't know. So who knows? Maybe one day, if Beta makes a 250F, hey Beta, if you're listening, make a Moto 250F, and
please.
I will buy it because my husband really wants the new 450 RX. So
yeah,
maybe eventually we'll convert that way. Because my husband had just bought a used Beta 250 RR race, 2023, and he set it up, and he's really happy with it. He set it up wood suspension wise and stuff. But it's too fast for me. I don't know how you rode yours back when you had it. I feel like I'm gonna like whiskey into a tree constantly.
The 252 strokes they're fun.
Yeah, it's very Moto 252 stroke like. Like it hits hard.
It does, and they keep like it seems like every year they get a
get
little
more
bit
aggressive.
Yeah. Like I had a Beta 250 from 17 through 22
22.
through 22. So I didn't ever have the full KYB bike, but
Yeah.
every year Beta made a little bit of a change. I'm like, holy cow, this is different. I guess I can't use last year's bike as a practice bike.
because you rode that at David Payne's one day, or Knobby Creek one day, and you were like, oh yeah, this is fun. Yeah. But you rode it on the track. You didn't ride it in the woods, right?
Right. No. Yeah. But I do kind of miss the Beta 250 days. I would have to. I feel like practice a lot again, just getting used to the two-stroke. But
I never grew up on two-strokes, so like it's not that I don't like it or think it's cool. Like I think it's awesome.
They're just different.
I just can't ride one very good. So yeah, but that's about all I got for that. What's been your favorite? I know you're in the Sherco thing right now, and you're happy with it.
Yeah. So Beta, as I just kind of said, Beta 250 is what I spent 7 years on. I love the bikes, love the company, everything about it. And then it came to a point where I needed to get a 4-stroke just because I thought it would benefit me more on when I'm riding and whatnot. So we did a Gas 250F, and it was EX, so it was the Woods model. And that was okay. It was like a learner bike for me on how to ride a 4-stroke. So I didn't know what I was doing, really. I didn't realize, like, if I let off the gas, this thing's going to stop. It's not like that on a 2-stroke. So I struggled with adapting to that, but overall the bike was really, really good. This year I got a Sherco 300 4-stroke and a Sherco 250 4-stroke. There's not a ton of differences between the two, but the biggest thing that I've noticed about the Shercos is how good the KYBs are. Like, you're literally floating across the track. Like, I don't feel all the bumps, I'm not falling down in them, like I'm staying on top of things. And people tell me that's the KYB suspension. I guess I didn't realize how good it was, but I love it. And then the power of the bike, it's super fast. Like, it's just like right off the bottom even, not like you don't have to work to build the power, which is nice, especially for, like with me, I'm still in my 2-stroke habits. I feel like I don't know if I'll ever be able to break them.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say?
No, that's cool.
Okay.
I rode her bike at Knobby Creek, like just for a little bit, and it was back before I got my suspension done on my KTM, and I was like 2 miles an hour faster through the woods on her bike, never having rode it, than I was on mine. And I went second on my bike. So I rode her bike first, then rode my bike, more familiar with the trail. Still 2 miles an hour slower on mine than hers. So the suspension definitely works well. And I'm 160 pounds, she's 120. So there's no way it was working the right way. But it still was handling very well compared to stock moto suspension for me. So. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, again, all the details and every, like, bike setup makes a difference for sure. Yeah. And if you're not comfortable, you're not going to be able to push it very well.
Yeah, so. For sure. Yeah, the Recluse is something, like, very different, too. Like, compared to, like, a moto bike's gearing and, like, snappiness with a regular clutch and stuff. You're, like, on the clutch a little bit more in, like, tight woods. But
sure.
It's good. Good stuff.
Yeah.
What else you got?
I think that's it on that subject. So, what is your favorite riding story?
You know, like, I wish I just had something really funny that I could think of, but really, I don't know. Is there anything funny that you can think of that we've done? Like, I mean,
well, this year,
some goofy stuff.
This year when we went to Texas, I decided not to race because I aggravated my wrist, and her and Robbie both raced. But at the hotel, we had some fun. We jumped in the pool.
Oh, well, yeah. Taylor jumped in the pool, and I was a wimp, and I acted like I was going to, and I didn't. Yeah.
And this was in January, so it was kind of chilly.
Yeah. But January. We found some Walmart swimsuits that said like Texas on them or something. Like
in the kids section.
Yes, I mean that was fun. We had to,
lovely.
Try asking a Walmart attendant in January, hey, you got any swimsuits? And they're just like, maybe on the clearance rack? I don't know. It's January, right?
Yeah. Well, the lady at the hotel said we could jump in, and I wanted to do it. Like, we got permission.
Yeah, it was all good. But I dipped in the hot tub. I was good with the hot tub vibes, and Taylor was definitely good with the hot tub vibes after going in the cold water. So that was a good one.
What was that place, Southern Texas, for New Year's? That was
good. That was good. We went to Three Palms. That was a fun trip. Like, got to ride all those tracks and stuff. Over New Year's, that was fun.
Yeah.
But what else did you drove down there like just for a period of time, and then did you drive back or something?
Yeah.
Like that next.
I drove down for that day and then drove back.
Yeah.
And it was like 8.5, 10 hours.
Further than what you were already going.
Yeah.
For something.
Yeah, I was already south.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Funeral is what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember
So,
that. All right. So, but yeah. So that was definitely fun. What I had thought of for this question was like, in 2017 and 2018, I'd been riding for like 4 years. My brother lived in Colorado. So I got a plane ticket to Colorado to go visit him during like an arena cross, and I'm like, hey Jesse, can I race your bike at this arena cross? And he had like a 2018 CRF 450 that I'd never ridden before, and we slapped some like little electrical tape 111 numbers on it. It looked, really good. And then loaded up, and he took me to the arena cross, and I ended up 6th out of like 16 girls. Like,
that's pretty good.
Like they had to double stack us, like where there's like a row on the gate, and then there's like 3 poor girls behind, like that had to start behind us. But yeah, so that was fun. And then the next day, I'm like, hey, I hear there's a track with some freestyle ramps that's open to the public. Can you take me there? And he's like, you're not going to do a ramp. He'd not really even seen any of my riding thus far. Like, we'd always lived different places, like, as adults, And he's like, there's no way you're going to do a ramp. Like, you did okay with arena cross. Good job. But, like, you're not going to go. He saw people doing the freestyle ramps at the arena cross. They were, like, 100 feet. I'm not doing that. Anyways, so we go to this place, and this is where I met, like, one of the first Colorado girls. Her name is Hope Dittis. And she is really good. Loretta's caliber rider girl. So she was out riding like the main track, and I asked her where the freestyle ramps were, like as we were out riding and talking, and she pointed me back to them. So I rode back there. She's like, I've never done them before, but you can do them, and she can jump. She's a great rider. She still rides. So we go back there, and there's some boys out there, like on whatever bikes, mostly 2-strokes. And they're, hitting the ramps, like all the different, I think there's like 20, 30-ish foot one, and then there's like another like 50, 60 foot. And then there's kind of like an angle one where you're supposed to like turn in the air and go down. And so I kind of ride down and like talk to them, and they're like, yeah, this girl's not going to do this. Like, no way. And some young, nice kid on like a YZ250 is like, I'll run at it with you a few times so you can like see the speed and see what you need to do. And I'm like, okay. So I chase him a few times on the 20, 30 foot, but I don't go off of it. I just kind of pull to the side, like, so I know the speed. And I'm like, man, you're on a 2-stroke. I'm on this 4-stroke. Can you just jump this bike for me and tell me, like, what gear you're in? And so my brother looks at me as I pass this bike off to a complete stranger, and he's like, oh, God, like, what's happening? So this kid jumps the ramp on my brother's bike. And I'm like, okay, so I kind of know the speed. I kind of know, like, the revs and stuff. Like, on a ramp, you kind of want to, like, not even run at it super fast, but just kind of, like, have a smooth speed up to it and then really, like, give it gas up the face of the ramp. And that's, like, something I didn't really even learn while I was there. I kind of learned it after the fact. But anyways, so he hands the bike back, so I know what I need to do. I run at it a couple more times. I'm like, man, I just got to do this or I'm never going to do this. And so my brother has, like, my phone out. He's like, I really don't think she's going to do it. And I did it. And it was scary because it kind of like, they have really steep landings because you're up high in the air. So the backside was very flat. Like, if you missed it, you were going to die. Like, and I'm pretty sure I hung the rear wheel the first time. And so I'm like, okay, I got to do this again because I almost got, like, bucked all the way down the landing because I, like, clipped it so hard. So I did it again. I just landed kind of, like, flat on the top of it this second time. And I'm like, okay, a little bit more. That was scary. Okay. I did it a third time and kind of just bounced off the, like, on the top level again. I'm like, okay, 3 times is good. I'm ready to go home. But, like, my skills, like, I guess they were okay, but, like, mentally, I still can't believe I did it because I don't think if I had the opportunity to do it again, I don't know that I would have the balls to do it anymore. But, I don't know, maybe it'd be different if we could, like, move the ramp. Like, I didn't have a track, like, there was a Bobcat there, but I'm sure that the keys weren't in it. But, like, maybe if, like, I could control it and ease it back, I'd do it again, but I don't know. I kind of, like, blew myself away that I even did it. And my brother was, like, shocked.
Yeah, my sister's crazy.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I'd say that's like my pretty much just like silly story. But
Yeah, that's a good.
I'd say like second runner up for that is like when my husband made it to Loretta's. Like, you know, I got to practice the track and stuff, and then for his final moto, like he was hoping to get a whole shot for one of his motos so he could be up on like the announcer's stand because he was planning to propose. So, but he never did. So we got back to camp, and everybody, like a lot of family, came to visit and watch him for his final moto. And like as we're taking like family pictures of everybody with the bike and him, everybody walks away and leaves us two, and I start walking away, and he's like, Mariah, and I turn around, and he like proposed, and that was really special. Like, so it's kind of a riding memory, kind of not, but it was a special day. So.
It happened at a track.
Yeah, it
That's
really
awesome.
a really cool track and like really
Yeah.
cool moments. So I'd say that was like up there with that. But what about you? What's your favorite like story or whatever you got?
I would say my favorite would be, let's see, I think it was 2 years ago. I was coming off of my shoulder injury, and I had been riding. I got released, I think, mid-August to start riding, and then at the end of October, it was the last National Enduro, and I felt well enough that I could go race it, so that was what my plan was. But little did I know, Steve Levan had a better idea, and he said, let's do 2 national races in one weekend, because you'll never get that opportunity to do it again. And so I'm like, okay, what's that mean? And he's like, well, this one is in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and it was the National East vs. West Hair Scramble series. And then the last National Enduro was in Alabama. So basically what that meant was we were racing on Saturday and racing on Sunday. And we lived far enough apart that it didn't make sense to carpool. So I drove the...
7 hours.
I think
probably?
it's 7 hours down to Stillwater
Yeah.
after work. Friday night, got there about midnight-ish, went to sleep, had to sign up in the 8 a.m. race, which is the like real pros and the A's and the B's. The women are in the second race at that time period. I don't know if it's changed since then. But I had to do that. That way we could be on the road by 11 because we had a 12-hour drive to Alabama. So
Crazy.
So, yeah, I did that. I got third that day, and I was battling
Like
for...
B or something?
Yeah, in B,
Sweet.
one of the B classes.
That's
I don't
awesome.
remember which one. And I was battling for second for a little bit, but
That's good.
yeah, I don't know what happened. And then in Alabama, it was like I was exhausted by the time we actually made it there because I had to, again, drive
all through the
myself.
night,
Yeah.
basically,
And Steve had his dad Frank with him, so he had help driving and whatnot. And we got there about the same time, midnight. I rolled out of my van at, key time I think was at 8 a.m. because of the time change. So I rolled out of my van right at 7 to do a look at my bike, think about putting my gear on, went through the day, did okay. I don't really remember how I finished. I was happy I finished. But whenever I got done, I laid on the ground for what felt like an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Until Billy Jack, Dalton's dad, brought me a big plate of food, and I'm not kidding. The plate was this big, and it was full, and I ate it all, and it brought me back to life to drive home,
Yeah.
which was another 11 hours. So I think ultimately it was 27 hours of driving in one weekend for
And then
2
how
races.
much like hours of riding? Probably like 5 or 6 hours of freaking
Yeah,
riding.
because it was a
that weekend?
2-hour hair scramble, and then enduro's 2 to 3, about 5 hours. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was dead.
Crazy.
And it was like my first race back.
Yeah. And nutrition was probably not quite as dialed as it is now.
No, definitely not.
Not even. Oh.
It was like I was probably on the low side, I'd
Yeah.
say, especially in that time period because I was scared of gaining weight.
Yeah. No, I get you. We've all been there. We've all
Yeah.
been there.
But
Sweet.
yeah,
It's a
that
good
one just makes me feel like I'm a little crazy.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah.
You've been a doubleheader crazy person though.
Yeah, lately.
Pretty recently.
Yeah, lately. It started, I think, really last year. We just started doing a bunch of double headers, and it's fun because you get to, like, one track will have one thing, and the other track will have a different
It's
thing.
like you
and
learn something and get to use it
Yeah.
immediately,
Yeah.
but then also you're like, okay, I'm tired.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
the better my fitness gets, the more I can't even tell that I raced the day before kind of thing, unless I
Yeah.
have a nagging injury. But
Yeah, it happens.
it does, so,
Cool.
yeah.
Is there anything else you can think of?
What is the best piece of advice you can give to any female?
Oh, gosh, here we go, man.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Or any male. It doesn't have to be just
yeah,
females.
I
But
know. Yeah, I feel like I gotta speak to the females.
yeah,
some
because
more.
you're a good ambassador for
I don't
for
know
all
about
of
that.
us.
I try to be
Yeah.
nice to everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I guess you just always have something you can learn from other girls. Like even at a lower level, sometimes you can learn from somebody who doesn't know as much as you, or you can learn from people that know more. But like just being open to things. Like at the time I met Taylor, like she knew way more about woods racing than I did, but I still had something to offer. We spent the day practicing like swing arm pickups, like with dirt bikes, grabbing it kind of like on the handlebars and then the swing arm to get more leverage to like do kind of like a pivot turn or like a kind of like a 90-degree like move your bike around.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like everybody can learn from everybody kind of thing, and definitely from different practices. Riding, all forms of riding, I feel like just makes you better. Even though it's intimidating to ride woods for the first time or to ride moto for the first time or to ride hard enduro for the first time, I really do want to do that. I don't know that I've really officially done a hard enduro type thing before, but you know what I mean? Like just any kind of riding has its thing that it offers you. So like being open-minded and willing to try new things, like in any setting, will definitely like it'll make you better and it'll be fun and you'll make new friends doing stuff. Yeah, mostly just that. Like, what about you? What do you got for people?
I'd say don't be scared to fail.
Yeah.
Like in this
Do a lot of
sport,
that.
especially, like you're gonna get knocked down.
Yeah, you're gonna get beat by people. You're like,
Yeah.
man, how did I lose? Like, or you're gonna have just days where like you drop your bike every,
Yeah.
mile, and you're like, okay, I don't know what's happening.
Right. Yeah. But
So,
you just gotta
definitely.
keep getting up and going, and
Yeah,
it's
for
just
sure.
part of it. So
Definitely.
don't be scared to try new things either. That's the big thing. And surround yourself with like good, like-minded people.
Yeah.
That makes a difference.
Yeah, people that are willing to like do silly stuff and have fun, but also like be serious and like try to get better. I don't know,
Yeah.
just keep in mind what your goal is, and then surround yourself with people that also have either a similar goal or have a mindset that's similar to that, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
Cool.
All right, guys. Thank you for
Thanks.
watching.
I don't know how long this ended up being, but thank
Yeah.
you for staying and watching the whole
Yeah.
thing if you did.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah.